What color was the light?
He cut me off.
You claim to love our legal system so much. Answer the question. What color was the light?
Let me ask you something. Think of a case where Harvey Specter was emotionally invested in the outcome. A case where he actually needed to win, where it wasn't just about the client, or the money, or the firm, but about someone he actually cared about. Take your time. Because here's what I noticed after watching this show front to back, twice. Every single time Harvey Specter is emotionally invested in a case, he nearly loses it. Or he does lose it. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's what most people think Harvey Specter is. The best closer in New York. A genius. Someone who wins because he's smarter than everyone else in the room. And they're not wrong. They're just not exactly right, either. Harvey's actual superpower isn't intelligence. It's detachment. The ability to look at a person across a negotiating table, across a courtroom, and read them cold. No ego. No feeling. Like a chess player who doesn't care about the pieces, only the board. He says it himself.
I don't play the odds. I play the man.
I don't play the odds. I play the man. That line is everything. It tells you exactly how Harvey wins. He gets inside people's heads, finds what they need, what they fear, what they want, and uses it against them. It's clinical. Almost inhuman. And when Harvey is detached, he's almost unbeatable. Watch him in The Pilot. Watch any negotiation in the first 2 seasons where he has no personal stake. It's cold, it's precise, it's devastating. He walks into rooms and people fold before he's finished the sentence. That's the version of Harvey we all remember. The version on the posters. The version people quote at work when they want to sound like they're winning. But here's the thing they don't put in the highlight reels. What happens when Harvey actually cares? Stay with me, because the answer is in plain sight, and almost nobody talks about it. The show practically draws a circle around it, we just don't connect the dots. The clearest case study is Mike Ross. Mike gets exposed as a fraud. He's been practicing law for years without a law degree, and now the government knows. Harvey had options here. Serious options. He had leverage, he had relationships, he could have negotiated this quietly. Moved pieces off the board before it ever became a courtroom situation. Instead, Harvey went to war. And ask yourself why. Because Mike wasn't a client. Mike was the closest thing Harvey had to a little brother. The moment that emotional reality hit, Harvey stopped being a lawyer. He became a man trying to protect someone he loved. And the show shows us exactly what that costs him. Watch Harvey across that whole storyline. The improvising. The desperation moves. The decisions he makes that the cold, calculated Harvey of season 1 would have torn apart in 2 seconds. He's not closing. He's flailing. Brilliantly, but flailing. Harvey from season 1, season 2, that version of Harvey would never have been in that position. He would have found the exit before the courtroom became the only option. He would have never let it get there. The Mike trial didn't break Harvey. It revealed the crack. And that crack has a name. It's everyone he loves. And if you want proof, the show gives it to you literally. The body keeps the score. Season 5. Donna leaves Harvey's desk to go work for Lewis. And Harvey, the man who walks into rooms full of billionaires without breaking a sweat, starts having panic attacks. Not in court. In his own office. In front of Mike. The walls close in, the breathing goes, the great Harvey Specter is leaning on furniture trying to stay upright. He ends up seeing a therapist. He ends up asking for anti-anxiety medication. Read that again. The most composed man in the show is asking for pills because someone he loves stepped 6 feet to the left and started working for someone else. That is not an intellectual problem. That is the entire pattern, on a clinical level, breaking through the armor. Now let's talk about Travis Tanner. Because this one is more subtle. Tanner is the opponent Harvey hates most. Not fears. Hates. And that distinction matters. Harvey doesn't hate people he doesn't respect. He ignores them. He brushes them off. Hatred, for Harvey, is a form of acknowledgement. And every time Tanner walks into a scene, Harvey's composure shifts. Slightly, but enough. Here's what was actually happening. Tanner played Harvey's game. He was aggressive. He was manipulative. He used people's pressure points against them. He was, in a lot of ways, Harvey in a different suit. And Harvey recognized it. He just refused to admit it. So every interaction became personal. Harvey stopped reading Tanner and started reacting to him. A reactive Harvey is a compromised Harvey. The blackmail setup, the back and forth, the courtroom moves. Harvey outwits Tanner in the end. But look at how close it gets. Look at how much energy Harvey burns on something that should, by rights, have been clean and simple for someone at his level. Here's my read. Harvey's hatred of Travis Tanner was actually respect he couldn't let himself feel. Because respecting Tanner meant admitting Tanner was dangerous. And admitting someone is dangerous means being afraid. And Harvey Specter does not do afraid. Except, he does. He just buries it so deep it comes out as hatred instead. And hatred. Terrible legal strategy. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because Tanner and Mike, those are external threats. People outside Harvey's inner circle who got inside his head. What about when it's not an enemy? What about when the emotional stakes aren't about an opponent, but about the person who made Harvey who he is in the first place? This is the one almost no one notices. Jessica Pearson. If you want to understand Harvey Specter's real blind spot, you don't look at his enemies. You look at her. Every time Hardman threatened the firm. Every time someone came for Jessica's position. Harvey's response was the same. Protective. Instinctive. Not strategic. He wasn't thinking like a managing partner. He was thinking like a son trying to keep his family together. And Jessica is, in a very real sense, the closest thing Harvey has to a parent figure he can actually trust. To understand why that matters, you have to understand what happened with the original one. Harvey's mother cheated on his father. 4 years. And when Harvey, 16 years old, found out, she didn't apologize and stop. She asked him to keep it a secret. From his own dad. The man Harvey idolized. Sit with that for a second. She didn't just betray the family. She made the kid carry the betrayal. She made him complicit in the lie. And he carried it. Until one day he couldn't anymore, and he told his father. And the family fractured. Harvey didn't just lose a parent in the conventional sense. He lost trust as a concept. He learned, at 16, that the people closest to you are exactly the people who can make you betray yourself. That wound, the show tells us this slowly, through years of therapy storyline, is the thing underneath everything. The suits, the confidence, the never let them see you sweat persona. All of it is armor. All of it was built over that original injury. Now look at Jessica again. Jessica didn't ask Harvey to lie for her. She didn't make him complicit in something dirty. She invested in him when nobody else did. She made him senior partner. She backed him in rooms where he had no business being yet. She vouched for him when vouching for him cost her something. And Harvey clocked all of it. He doesn't say it out loud. He never does. But every loyalty Harvey shows Jessica is a debt being paid on a wound she didn't cause. So every time Jessica was threatened, Harvey's strategic brain went offline, and something older switched on. Protect her. Whatever it costs. And that loyalty, that genuinely human, deeply earned loyalty, is the exact thing that made Harvey exploitable. Hardman knew it. Forstman knew it. Anyone who was really paying attention knew it. Love the right person, and you found your way around Harvey Specter. Now here's the part that makes Harvey Specter one of the most well-written characters on television. He knows. Harvey eventually goes to therapy. Not because someone forces him to, but because the panic attacks force the issue. At some point he sees the pattern himself. He understands that his emotions are a structural vulnerability. That the thing that makes him dangerous when he's detached is the exact thing that makes him fallible when he's attached. So what does he do? He builds armor. The suits aren't vanity. They're a uniform. The office isn't decoration. It's a power architecture designed to create distance. The cockiness, the one-liners, the physical presence. All of it is a system designed to keep people at arm's length, where he can read them without them reading him back. And here's the real tragedy. The armor works perfectly against strangers. It completely fails against people who love him. Because Donna knows what's underneath. Mike knows. Jessica knows. And knowing Harvey means knowing exactly where the armor is thinnest. Watch any of those scenes again, with this in mind, and they read completely differently. The cases Harvey loses aren't failures of intelligence. They're failures of distance. He got too close. He let someone matter. And the entire system he built his career on, the cold red, the emotional detachment, the calculated move, it stops working the second someone gets past the front door. That's the paradox. The armor is built to protect what's underneath. But the armor only works when there's nothing underneath worth protecting. Harvey has people worth protecting. So the armor cracks. Every time. So here's where I land on Harvey Specter. The thing that fails him the moment he has emotional attachment. He built his entire identity around being unreadable. But the cases he lost, and the moments he came apart, are the most readable things about him. They're a list. Every loss, every panic attack, every reactive misstep, maps to a person he loves. Mike. Donna. Jessica. The ghost of his mother. Even Tanner, in a twisted, buried way. And that's what makes Harvey Specter not just a great TV character, but a genuinely interesting one. Because a Harvey who always wins is a fantasy. A Harvey who loses because he loves people, that's something real. That's something we recognize in ourselves, whether we want to or not. That's the trick the writers pulled off. They built a man who looks invincible, then quietly let his humanity bankrupt him in front of us, scene by scene, season by season. The show understood something most legal dramas miss completely. The most compelling thing about a man who is almost never vulnerable is the moments when he is. That's it for today. If you've made it this far, you already watch Suits differently than most people. That's what this channel is about. Not recaps. Not highlight reels. The stuff underneath the surface that the writers put in and most people scroll straight past. If that's your thing, subscribe. Hit the notification bell. There's a lot more coming. Next video. Why Donna Paulson is actually the most powerful person in that entire firm. And why Harvey always knew it, but could never say it out loud. See you there.